The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal, Gilbert, and
Don.
And we are here. It is January 25th. Wow, January just...
It's the 25th?
It's the 25th.
Oh, gosh. I have to finish reading the book of Matthew before February.
Oh, well, you got a few more days.
Time.
You got a little, not a lot.
This month is going by so fast.
It went by so fast. We just got to the new year, but you know, it is so much going on a regular basis that the days just zoom on by.
When you're making money moves, huh?
When you're making money moves, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and so yeah, it's been an interesting 25 days of January.
Yes, it has been.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Exciting.
And interesting.
So we are here today. Gilbert was working on a big project last night. He's getting a RFP in, or he had to get it in. So he did no sleeping last night.
Wow.
And so he didn't want to come and fall asleep here.
Okay. So he's living like us now, huh? No sleep.
Yeah, no sleep. Well, he doesn't do well with no sleep.
He'll get used to it.
Hey, Maxine. Thank you, Stacia. So this has been an interesting week. The people are going back to work. Before I left today,
for about 3 weeks, maybe.
For 3 weeks. So, but it's funny. I was listening to a video, D.L. Hughley's podcast,
right?
And so he was talking about Nancy Pelosi and how she is a mom to the T.
Yes.
Because I had said that the other day. I was saying she is a woman who has 5 children. She's got 5 grandkids, and she is the sister of 5 brothers.
Wow.
So she knows how to deal with insolent children.
Yes, she does. She is more than qualified.
She is more than qualified. So that's what DL was talking about. He says, you remember when your mother, you would do something and she put you on punishment and she wouldn't let you off until you got back in line?
Right.
So he said that's what she did. He stepped out of line and she like smack, and then she punished him. No, you can't come to my house.
Right.
Because you are not behaving.
Yeah.
So when you learn to behave, then you can come to my house. So I think he has met his match with her. And so now it is over. Hey, Maxine. So it's so that was cool. This week they came out with the nominations for the Oscars.
Yes, they did. What do you think?
I think awesome, because there was a lot of I was reading today that this Oscars nominees included a lot of historical firsts.
Right.
And so that's pretty awesome, because you got there's some directors and everybody's of color. Because usually the argument is there's no people of color, right?
We're winning this year, right?
Right. Yes. But the thing is, I saw Black Panther, my favorite movie of all time. But you got Black Panther, you got Green Book, which was awesome. Yes. What else? It was like 4 or 5. Stars Born. It was pretty decent.
Stars Born was good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was.
But it's a classic, and it wouldn't always be great.
Yeah.
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 It'll always be great.
And actually, they weren't too, when you look at Lady Gaga and it was Barbara Streisand, right? They're not too far off in
Yeah, I think you just can't go wrong with that script. Even with the little small differences, I think you just can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't.
It's amazing. That's why they keep redoing it, because it ain't broke.
It's not broke. Exactly. It's not broke, because this must be the third or fourth time.
Right.
There was and that Black Panther is the very first superhero film to ever be nominated in an Oscar, so that was pretty cool. And then
That's
there's
awesome.
a couple of Latinos that are the first Mexican-born actresses, and I think there's Black Panther's first person to be nominated for Black production design. And what else we got? First best picture nominated for Netflix.
Right.
I mean, there's a change coming.
Yes, there's a change that is here. It ain't coming. It has arrived.
It has arrived.
Doing okay.
So it's pretty cool. So how was your week?
My week was good. No complaints.
Good. You
My
feel
week was
better?
good. I felt amazing.
We missed you last week.
Last week I had a little hard time, but this week God is good. I'm back stronger than ever.
You're stronger than ever. That's good. That's
Yes.
good. What
You
else?
can tell because the way you were hitting those burpees, Crystal.
I know.
Crystal's burpees are getting better, and she never thought she would be doing burpees at, I'm about to say, your age.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't think I could.
Over 40.
Over 40. Over 40.
She's over 40, not me.
and she's so persistent about it, so you have no choice.
and they've gotten better.
Okay.
I remember she started off on the bench and she was screaming and hollering. We moved her to half burpees on the floor, and now she's doing full burpees, and she's doing them well. So I'm super excited. But listen, I need to talk about these two talks you got coming up. She's a keynote speaker.
I am.
The only person on the actual roster of the event. You are the only speaker. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so it is for the 100 the Coalition of 100 Black Women.
Yes.
And actually we're going to be partnering up with them with the Bella Network.
Okay.
And so I had gone to a meeting to talk about that. And so one of the young ladies...
And they fell in love with you.
They did. They fell in love with me. And one of the things that's nice that they're doing is that... the old regime, the older, the ones that have been there for the Coalition of Black Women, they're bringing in young women, and so so eventually it would be where the young women will be running the organization to make sure that the legacy of the organization. So from what I've heard, the lady that I met, she's retiring or stepping down. So this is their annual Women Economic Empowerment afternoon tea scholarship fundraiser.
And what will you be talking to these women about?
So I am going to be talking about entrepreneurship and starting their own businesses. Majority of the women work for companies, but a lot of them have an aspiration to start their own businesses.
And you're perfect for that.
Right.
And I heard that you have an amazing camera person going with you.
Yeah, I do.
Tell me about her.
She's that same amazing person that's my trainer. My co-host.
I am going with Crystal because I don't want her to miss a moment. I'm going to make sure it's done right. I'm going for my friend because I believe in her, and she deserves the best camera person in the city by her side. So that's me.
That's you. That's you.
I've never taken any pictures. I just own cameras.
but you know about it because you just went through a whole process of your own production that you've just done. And it's interesting because I have never, all the time I speak, all the time I teach, which has been all the time, there are no pictures of me.
So I told her that she needs to. We need some pictures of you without the cell phone in the picture. Her taking her selfie shots in the mirror, the bathroom toilet, the toilet paper.
Well, that's my mirror. That's that mirror. That's the mirror that's the kindest to me.
Well, I'm gonna be kind. That's what I'm going with you. I'm gonna put the camera mode in slim. No other hips mode.
I went to all the mirrors in the house, and that's the kindest mirror to me.
That's the kindest one.
You know how everybody has their side?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
You tell me what side you want, and I'm gonna do it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the thing for the tea is called Unlocking Your Entrepreneurial Spirit.
All right, I'm so excited for you.
So that's what I'm going to talk to you
Crystal
about.
said that this year is going to be the year that I speak more.
Yes.
That I begin launching my speaking career, and she's starting off with two events.
And so the second one, I'm going to be same thing, entrepreneurial spirit, but for that particular one, I'm doing it at Jefferson High School.
Okay.
And for their alum, and I'm going to be talking to the kids.
I guess I'm going to be at that one as well. Taking
Yeah,
pictures
so
for my
that's the
friend.
following week. So it's all Black History Month, and which is a great time to kick it off. And, entrepreneurship is very important. Also, and you need to do this, the deadline is coming up for the TEDx talk.
Let's
So I
do it.
filled out my application this morning.
Okay, I'm going to fill out mine today.
Yeah, so
because
she,
we're twins.
yes, Shonda put it up on Facebook today.
She did? Your application?
She put the whole application for the TEDx.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because remember, they got to see what you're talking about. And
what was I going to say to you? I was going to say, tell them how much it costs to get into the event.
So it costs $45 for the event.
And which event is this one?
And this is the Coalition of 100 Black Women, the fourth annual Women's Economic Empowerment Tea. It's going to be at the Shadow Tea Room, which is in Torrance at 1303 Prada Avenue. And it's Saturday, February 9th. And it starts at 11 o'clock.
And where's it held?
And it's going to be at the Shadow Tea Room.
In what city?
It's in Torrance.
Torrance. Okay, well, we'll be there. That's why.
So we're going to be there. So I'm the keynote, and I'm unlocking the entrepreneurial spirit.
Is it going to be all women?
Pretty much.
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
I'm looking for my husband, so I need to go I need to speak at some all-man events.
So
can you do that for me?
Can we identify some? And then by all means, we can. No problem.
We're going to invite some all-man events to speak at, ladies. We'll tell you about them and invite you.
So also at the women's tea, so I'm going to be the keynote, and that's the part one. And then there's a part two, which is a panel discussion. And so there are going to be four business women that they're going to select. And then we'll have a panel, and they'll ask me questions. So
you're on the panel as well?
I am the panel.
So you're just doing it.
I'm just doing it, boy. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it like gangbusters at the first step. So that'll be the first of many, I'm sure. And then I start teaching back to Mount SAC in late February.
Okay.
So that's my 12-week program. I also have a class on starting Monday. It's a 4-week course on the basics of accounting for small business owners.
Starting Monday. Yeah, this is when you go back to. So what hours are you not going to be available for me?
Well, this is the basic accounting class for small business owners here at the Urban League.
Okay.
So I do that. I start that January 28th, and I do that until February 25th.
What hours?
And that is going to be from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So that's fine. But when I do start back at Mount SAC, that's from 1 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And then I'll come back in, and then I think one of those days I have the digital marketing class on Wednesday.
And congratulations. Well, it's our digital marketing class.
Yeah.
And we've gotten some raving reviews.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So read the testimony that we got the other day.
Oh, I will. And that happened. Actually, the young lady was on, she was on the show last week. And that was, her name is, Anissa Rashad, and she came to the digital marketing class. Let me pull it up so I can read it. And this morning, she just sent me this incredible testimony. And so let me find it. And that was very kind of her. So let me see. Where am I? I gotta find it now. But she's basically saying that she was going to be embracing, where did I put it?
Do you have your text, your cell phone?
It's on my cell phone, but my phone is on the thing.
Right.
I'll have to find it. I'll find it before we do.
Well,
but it was
she
very
was very
nice.
pleased, very excited.
She was very pleased. She was over the top excited, actually, with the whole process. And now she realizes she can make some money.
Right.
And she has like 3 or 4 websites already, and none of them are monetized.
So she says it's making sense to her why she even got into the social media arena. She said we made it make sense.
It made it make sense, and she's looking at websites totally different now, and she's looking at it as a way to generate revenue, additional revenue, and that ching. So, and it's kind of fun because I have my affiliates up, and I know you're getting ready to put your affiliates up. So, something happened. We have a class, so they were to all get their hosting domain name through us. Yeah. And so all week, we had to go into guerrilla mode to get them to activate. Now all week I've been getting notifications. You have credit. You have money. You have money. That's a great feeling, guys. So you want to do that.
Right. So Crystal, not to change subject, but we have to talk about the show. But I'm getting so many comments about the gorilla show that we did. You have to pull that one. So that and repost it because when we talk about the personalities.
Oh, really?
Okay, so I was in the gym earlier today, and I saw Tanya. So I started doing because you know how gorillas would see other gorillas, right? Tanya turned around and she played right into what I was doing. Then we started being our chest like gorilla happy to see gorilla. It was so cute. It was so cute. And then the lady was like, yes, I remember that show. Someone actually saw the show.
Oh, really?
And remembered. She was like, it was so good. She was like, so what would two turtles do if they ran into each other? I said, they'd probably move in such slow motion.
It's going to take them a long time, even to be able to greet each other.
Flamingos.
We be like this.
Social butterflies.
Yes, but I will put that one back up again.
That was so much. The information was good, but I think the show was just so much fun.
Yes,
and when it's fun, people learn stuff. You know?
That's true. So I'll post it back and send it back, put it back up on Facebook and all the other sources.
Because you are a gorilla flamingo.
I am.
Yes, you are. And I think I'm a gorilla flamingo too.
Yes,
we have very little turtle. We do need a little turtle because
I don't move that
your
slow
turtle
though.
Comes in at night.
Yeah.
That's the detail-oriented part of you.
Yeah, right.
The structured part, the dotting every I and crossing every T, that happens after 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, that actually happens when I'm in my accounting mode. Mm-hmm. That's when it happens. Okay. In fact, I was just telling Armin, who is, he does the digital marketing classes for us, right? So I was saying, and this is very true, and I think Cassie, we talked to when Cassie Betts was here and she was talking about coding.
Right.
So you know how detailed you have to be when you're using some sort of software program, especially when you haven't used it before. So you have to look and make sure you're, okay, I need to do this. Right. So, but a lot of people are not tuned into the detail. And so they overlook and skip stuff. So when you're trying to, so this happened to Armin. We were trying to, over the phone, tell someone how to set up their blog. Right. And we kept going, over there at the top, on the left-hand side, there's a button and it says click here. And she was all over here, over here, all over here. I said, no, over to your other left. So we totally understood what happens when you call to a tech and you're like all over the place. No, can you just center in the green button?
Right. And, the big one sitting right here? Yeah, that one. Exactly. The biggest thing on the screen.
Yeah, right.
She kept missing it.
She kept missing it. So
too funny.
And so that's when I'm at my most. That's when I'm detailed. So that's when I'm a turtle. And you have your turtles when you have us, because you have us when you're at the side of your eye. I don't know how you not know when we not doing what we supposed to do, or somebody will be doing something. You go like, what was that?
Yeah, my parents said, how did you know I didn't do all those? I was looking at my cell phone talking to you, but I'm counting every time you go down. Because first, I need to know how you work. So if I know that you cheat a little bit, then I'm going to say, give me 30 or 35. And you'll probably fall around 20, 25 somewhere. I need to know what I'm dealing with here. And then I know I can't leave you alone. And then if I don't get the results that I want, I know it's not me. It's you.
Right, exactly. Because this morning, Thelma, she did something. And you're like, what was that? So you have your detailed time as well.
She's a beast. Miss Houston is a beast. I can't wait to get on this show and sing for us.
I know.
But you know, she's doing a concert for my birthday in March.
Oh, fantastic!
And I'm not paying her either. She's doing like a
Is she singing? Are you singing along with her, or
she doesn't know it? But midway into the concert, what I see in my head, she's gonna be like probably in the middle, you know, at that high point, and I'll come out and kind of help her.
Oh, okay.
Why you give me that look?
You gonna help? You gonna help her?
I always help. Y'all don't know.
Okay.
That's why I'm going to come out and probably sing a few songs with her. I haven't told her that yet.
Okay. So where are we having this big extravaganza?
Probably at the gym.
Wow. Okay. Is it going to happen at 6 o'clock in the morning?
We're going to rent our Gold's Gym or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Your favorite place. Well, wherever it is, it will be a lot of fun. We will enjoy ourselves.
I wish I could get Thelma to sing for free for me.
I know, huh?
She don't like me that much.
She's
been with me about 6 years, but she don't like me that much.
But that's her business, and you know how that is. She gotta do her thing. She is so talented, though. I really enjoyed her when I went to the Grammy.
She's awesome. I missed her.
I know. We missed you as well. But she'll have some other stuff coming up.
Of course.
And you'll be there.
Yeah.
So, all righty. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to bring up our guest. He's really...
Yes, I'm super excited.
He is one of the... he helps with the... facilitates the Kingdom Day Parade.
Yes.
And he does so much in the community. And he is truly the man, the black man in the community that knows his history. And he is very supportive, and he does some great things. And so today's show is about community leaders that are making a difference in our community, and that's so important. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to bring up our guest in just a few moments.
All right.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
And welcome back to the Business Zone with Crystal, Gilbert, and Dawn. And if you guys were paying attention, Dawn just did her burpees, those dreaded burpees, but you do
that
them
you do
with
so
such,
well.
and you do them with such ease, like you were born doing burpees. So we are here with Dr. Clarence Eziokwu. Eziokwu, Washington. He is the president of We Can Foundation, and We Can works on a grassroots level following a reach one, teach one philosophy, and they believe that important work can be done in micro and widespread influence based on the principles of cultural pluralism. Is a California state certified supplemental education service provider under the Race to the Top, formerly No Child Left Behind. They provide and promote educational advancement and opportunities K through 12, utilizing research-based methodologies for instruction in basic literacy, reading, critical thinking. Wow, that's a big one. Mathematics and life skill management. Been in operation since 1995, and they currently serve over 2,000 students in 89 school districts in California, but primarily through the greater Los Angeles area. And in addition to that, you are part of the planning and team of the Kingdom Day Parade.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And he also just started, or a program for the merchants in Lamert, right? Merchants Association in Lamert
Park Village Merchants and Business Association.
Okay. You have your own show as well, right? Or you have, you do something over there in Lamert. You Mr. Lamert, actually.
No,
he's Mr. Lamert.
Yes, he is.
That sums it all up. He's
just
Mr.
a brother in the community.
Making a huge impact. That's
You're
awesome.
making a huge impact.
Congratulations.
And when you're over in Lamert and you're over at any the Hot and Cool Cafe, you will come strolling in and you are holding Lamert down over there, right?
I suggest that they stop off at the bookstore.
Okay.
Before you feed the body, feed the mind.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, that's invest in knowledge.
Right. So, and I've known you for as long as I've been with RBD, for 10 years.
Yes.
And you've been very, very active over there.
Yes,
and we do thank you for your commitment, because I tell you, it's as a co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, sometimes it's hard to lead us.
It is. Definitely.
So we have to thank everybody out there trying to lead us.
That's correct. That's right.
So, but before we can, what did you do before you became Mr. Lamert?
Right.
I was a network engineer for Pac Bell for 24 years.
Really?
And, because I wasn't technical enough, I was asked to retire early.
Okay.
And out of that was a blessing, because I moved over to become a system engineer for a company out of Rome, Italy.
Wow.
For 9 years as a system design engineer, and I was there for 9. I left there, went to a company called it's called SETA, Society of International Telecommunication and Aeronautics, and I was their design engineer for at least 3 years, going back and forth in Paris and Geneva and the neighborhood and the community, just showing and engaging in technology. So I'm just a poor brother with a little bit of technology understanding.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Awesome.
That's something. And they always think we don't have those skills, right?
Well, the thing is, I usually tell folks, if you don't know what you're about, if you don't know the major contributions that we've contributed, and the fact that every time you pick up a phone, it ain't Alexander Graham Bell,
Right.
Latimer. You know, if it's not, if you got a cell phone, think about the brother who created the cell phone.
Right.
There's just so much that we have that people don't know about, don't think about, and don't frame it that we're not as good as we should be, but we're the best that we are.
We
Wow.
are.
And
We
so
are.
you go to the young children and say, this is who we are, and continue to telling our story. And to my concern, that the X generation, the Y generation, and the Z generation. The Z generation are the millennials. And the Y generations are millennials, and Z generations are the ones from 21 to 12.
Okay.
And there's a whole different mindset that the Z generation thinks that the millennials don't think yet. So they're much quicker, much faster, and not telling my story, you know. And I happened to do a libation because I'm a Khan high priest as well as a minister, and I do a lot of libation.
What type of priest?
A Khan high priest.
Khan high priest.
A Khan.
What exactly is that?
A Khan high priest is, I'm a spiritualist. So my Ghanaian name is Nana Kofi Botang.
Okay.
So that's when I was inducted in the spiritual realm in Ghana. That's basically calling our ancestors and dealing with ceremony and traditions, and also ministered to them. So I wear two hats, you see. So, but at the same time, I was over doing a libation, and I was amazed because I do anything, I give tribute to our ancestors, and I did libation, explain what that's about, because as a people, we do libation, but not know what it is that's encoded in our DNA. And I like to use the example that a lot of our Ghetto-Nation warriors, that people call gangbangers, I said they're Ghetto-Nation warriors because they misplaced warriors, and whenever they would lose someone, they would always take a 40 ounce and say, this is for our lost homie.
Right.
So they're called the spirit to be there. That's libation. So again, if we look at how we have libation, how do we engage in that, in most of our homes we have pictures of, and I tell folks, separate the pictures. You have pictures of those that transferred over and those that are existing. You want to separate the pictures. Those that transferred over have a section for them. And spirituality is called the gugun of that spirit. So when you walk past a shelf, and you may have great-grandma, great-uncle, sister, brother, and you walk past that, your attention goes to that section, and it invigorates, or it triggers something. And you walk past it, my God, and you may be thinking about something, all of a sudden Grandma Grady might come up and say, oh, wow, I'm thinking about that. And you think, oh, where did I get that inspiration from? Because if you mix the pictures, you got both living in, it's kind of hard, you clean in the shelf and it doesn't impact you. But when you walk past that memory, just visualization calls attention to them. So when you go in your reflective thankfulness, thanking those that made the journey and that are now our ancestors that are watching over us and give us our guidance to say, well, boy, you're doing the wrong thing, or you're doing the right thing, or what thing should I do? And I look in terms of what my mother and my father values they taught me, and what are the African traditions that I've been engaged in, and how do I continue that? And I live that. So when I was in, the name Eziokwu was given to me by the Igbo community. It means truth, you know. So when I was ordained a minister, I said I would take the name Eziokwu. So I'm Reverend Eziokwu. So recognize that when the people are talking, and because it was a unique name, and the village thought this brother speaks the truth, because I will speak the truth. And people can't ready for the truth, then you don't need to talk to me.
Right,
you know, so.
Not at all.
So those are the things that I engage. And when I was at that time, I happened to do that, and two of the young millennials approached me and said, well, why is that important? And I explained that to them. But after that, I said, after we do that, we must continue on by singing out our national black anthem. And I said, well, a lot of our folks don't know it. And I said, it's a tragedy. A lot of our folks may know most songs out there, but don't know our black national anthem. And I'm a type brother when I said, we're going to sing our national anthem. And some folks are still sitting down.
Is it long?
What's it, 12? It's 4 stanzas?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, but most folks don't. Most folks don't know 3.
Right.
So, and I said we're going to start giving homage to us lifting our voice, and we'll start singing.
Can you give us our first stanza?
Lift every voice and sing. I'll stop it here. Continue on.
Till earth and heaven ring.
Go on, sing it now.
You don't know why we laugh. Don't get me started.
The thing is,
she likes to sing. You just gave her carte blanche, sing.
And who was the writer of that? Just for our listening audience.
John Wesley Johnson. Come on now, people on
a lot. Go ahead.
Wesley Johnson, you know. So understand, and it was written in 1905.
1905.
So the thing is, we don't talk about it because the song talks about our dilemma and our passion. And I'm the type brother that says, okay, now we're going to sing our national anthem, and as we sing it, I'm going to be watching your mouth movements.
Yes.
So you can't, you know, and you can't pretend with this brother.
You can't say pineapple or olive oil when someone's paying you close attention, Chris.
Well, if you're deaf and can't hear, I say olive oil still looks like I say I love you. So come on. So the interesting thing about that was a couple of the youth came up to me and said, you know, you tell us what that should be about, the giving homage to and singing the song.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm thinking, wow, because a lot of us don't know it. And when I was at an event in Limerick Park when we did the libation, and I said that, and a young man at the Juneteenth celebration came up to me and says, Baba, you put something in my mind about we should know it, and when I go home, I'm going to download the song and teach it to my family. That to me was an inspirational time about liberation. He's teaching it to his family. So we need to go back to those very basics. So
and it's interesting. So, you know, at churches, obviously, we sang it when I was at at First AME, and actually all the churches that I've been members of, we through the month of February.
But why I got see,
just the 1 month, right?
So we only work. It's my thing. If I'm going to be in a church service, again, if I'm going to sing, you know, what hymn's going to be, I would do. Let's sing. It's a spiritual. So, you know, sing it in a spiritual context, and then that way, and the story is the Kingdom Day Parade is, and I'll give you a quick story about that. There was a young lady that was next door at Hot and Cool. They were doing some type of justice event, and I went upstairs to see what the process was. And there was another young lady there. She was taking names, and I asked what was she doing, and she said, I'm just part of the process. And as I walked downstairs, and she came behind me, and I asked what she does. She said, I'm a singer. I said, come on in the office. And she sat down, and I said, oh, what do you sing? I knew you sang hip-hop. She said, oh, yeah, I do that. I do R&B, too. I said, oh, okay. You know, and I said, okay, can you sing our national anthem? Girlfriend's voice.
Really?
Ooh,
Beautiful.
But when she did that, and I said, and then as my mentor, Dr. Dove, came through, and he had an important message. Doc, sit down and listen to her sing this. And she sang that out. He says, oh, my God.
Really?
I'm going to fly you out here to sing. Now, I would like you to sing a version of America the Beautiful that Ray Charles sang. And she did that. He said, oh, you're on a plane out here. Yes. And so with that, I had her, I said, sing in my phone. And so she does, when she sings the first two stanzas, that's my ringtone.
Really?
Yeah. So when people hear that, they say, oh, my, where did you get that from? So we're trying to do some things to make that possible, to have a ringtone. So we're working on.
Oh, that's an amazing
idea.
Because again, if you take it, and it gives us something about, lift every voice. So no matter what age you are, it focuses on our purpose.
And that's not hard to do. That's not hard to do. And make it available for us to buy it.
Yes, that's what we're,
awesome.
She's, and the thing about it, she was a young Puerto Ricana. I says, oh, they got J-Lo, but you're going to be real high when this hits, So reach high. But I mean,
it's the fact that she even, because I don't know if it would, many of the other musicians out there would even know the song.
But put it this way. Today, Dr. Tatum came because he's a professor out at Cal State Long Beach, and I used to have a lot of interns to give us 25 hours for the community. And she happened to call in from New Jersey because she called me a Baba and you wonder how I was doing. And she says, oh, how you know? I said, could you do me one favor? She says, what's that, Baba? I said, I want you to sing that. And when she sang half of the song. And he sat there, and Dr. Tatum says, my God, her voice is just breathtaking.
Wow.
And for him to say that, he said that the syncopative changes and shift he said was right on. He says he basically said she has a beautiful voice, and you've never heard that type of transition. So that is a show because it's taking a historical context and making it every day.
Right.
And
it's important.
Right.
It's
exactly.
about even tying into the blueprint that Dr. King did to our youth. He did a talk about the blueprints of life.
Right.
So a lot of folks don't pay no attention to the blueprint that he gave the speech for our youth. And he also talked about Letters Out of Selma and then Beyond Vietnam. That's the whole different story. We get into King.
So let me ask this question, since we're talking about the youth, and you do have programs for youth. My sister and I were talking about this the other day. We sit on a board of a tennis program. We teach kids how to play tennis, but there's an academic side of it. And we were saying the other day that the one thing that's missing in our children's lives that you see in the Asian community is, the Japanese, they have, the day where Saturday,
teach culture
day. And in the Chinese community, the Indian community, everyone, and I would imagine even in the Hispanic, it would be because that's part of the quinceanera.
Right. You're right.
So we don't really have that.
No.
Well, in a way, we had a kind of a crude but a tribal way of having rites of passage when I was coming up. You see.
Okay.
At the time, that rites of passage was going to the barber shop and sitting in front of older
Ah,
men.
okay.
And they would inquire, well, boy, what you doing today? How are you in school? And sometimes if you've been acting up, then by the time you happen to go there and get your hair cut, then those barbers would know. Or what you did, and I heard you got in trouble. How you know? You know, little birdie told me. You know,
Right.
who's that little birdie? I'm gonna put my finger or choke that little birdie to become a little business. So, but that was a form of passing review, and that's something that went away. And being educated and walking down the street in the way we speak to other and be able to communicate with each other, and I guess it's a tragedy that we look at a Zulu form of Ubuntu. And I see you, I feel you, and embrace you. Yet our culture looked at that, I get Anishan warriors, translated that to mad dogging. Why are you looking at me? So, you know, and then I'm going to blow you away because you looked at me wrong. No, it's Ubuntu, so understand what that's about.
Right.
So we understand what the cultural revelation is, how we as a people.
Right.
We are a communicative and collaborative people. And I like to use that even from a philosophical standpoint. If my Greek brothers and sisters out there, if I say, we claim Descartes, who says, I think, therefore I am. Right. So, but where did that come from?
Yeah.
Well, who was Amenemope? When Amenemope says, I am because we are, therefore I am, speaks in the collective, you know. So there's two different paradigms of thought. One is singular, other is collective, you know. And it being thinking from a village perspective, you know, we always want to claim it takes a village, but the question I ask, where are the villagers and where is the village?
Exactly. And I think the only way you know, we had our cultural school where even our adults would attend to find out, you know, there are things that took place before we came to this country as slaves.
That's right.
And thus,
no, we didn't come as slaves.
I mean,
No.
As we were kidnapped and brought here and enslaved.
Thank you.
But prior to that, there's a world, and we know nothing about it. And it's funny now, you know, right now with all the ancestry.coms and everybody, ancestry and the DNA, everybody's finding out. And so I had my African DNA done when I went to the PNC conference. And so I'm on a website where it's the ancestry, and so everyone there has gotten their DNA back, and they knew where they're from. Like I'm from the Hassa people. And so then every now and then everybody's putting their certificates and they're like, I'm from here. And then the ones that are actually in Africa are putting, this is what our country, this is what our village does. And you narrow it down. And it's really you're empowered to know that if I go to Africa, these are the people that I came from, that my ancestors came from. And that's what you did when you went to Ghana, right?
Well, I went to Ghana. I've been to Ethiopia. My name in Ethiopia is Tedros. In Ghana is Nana Kofi Boateng, and in Nigeria is Eziokwu. So I was kind of elected village as a village chief in Zero Village. So I do wear the title Zo in the Nigerian Igbo community. And so understanding with their doctrine. And people ask me where I'm from. You know the first thing I tell them?
Where?
My mother's womb.
That is where you're from.
I mean, because and people say, what is he? When these smart brothers, no, you asked me where I was from. My mother's womb. My place of origin is this. So again, and I'm that type of brother. I will listen to what you have to say and respond in such a way that I don't have to go collegiate on you all the time.
Right.
You know, so
I love it.
It's a question of thinking critically and speaking critically, you know, and seeing how we don't do that. We don't take the time out to have a discussion. You know, I'm a big brother. I got into bodybuilding for a minute in the late 80s. My sons were calling me the Black Conan, and when I went to India, I dropped about 80 pounds. I'm still at the same weight now. You know, I used to have a 6-pack. I got a 3 and a 40. And I got
3 and a 40.
Too funny.
But you know, but the point being strong mentally and being strong physically, because people don't look at me and say, you can't be you past your 60s. That's right. Halfway in my 70s. Come on now. But I still, you know, just got to keep strong, you know, and create the young warriors. And so the point is that we don't teach those basic fundamentals, you know, and how to address one another. And I tell my brothers out there, if you're listening, if you have a young lady, if you have a girlfriend, if you have a wife, she's not your queen. Recognize it. Stop calling her your queen, okay? if she got a queen, Negro is your castle.
Okay.
Now, I tell folks, number one, and I'll allude to what I call my wife when Dr. Gilbert were talking, and I've been with my wife for 43 years.
Really?
Okay?
Wow.
My oldest son will be 50 this year. So the fact that we were talking one day, and he asked me, how's your queen? And I says, Dr. Gilbert, I don't have a queen. And him and Dr. Bob and Dr. Gilbert said, man, what happened? Nothing happened. You with that woman for 43 years, and brother, what you mean? I said, well, let me qualify this. I've always stated that the law of the supremeness, there's a God and goddess, and the ability to bring life forward in that divine moment. Woman is the goddess because she brings life forth. The divine creates life, and she brings it forth. So in that divine moment, she is your creatress. So if I go to church and I kneel down to the God, I should kneel down to the goddess when the woman is in that goddess mindset, you see. You see, and understanding what that's about. You have more respect by saying, this is my goddess. And you do that. You know, how you going to slap your goddess? You know, how you going to collar snatch your goddess? How you going to talk to, you know, out of context? So, and go to church too, and I call you a bee and everything else? Wait a minute. You see, it is the different thing. It puts us in that celestial spot. And it puts us in that divine, if we are divine and spiritual people, then why can't we embrace each other that way? You know, get away from that earthly label and go to the divine nature. So I tell folks, I do have a goddess. You know,
so she's your goddess.
That's my goddess, you see, and it puts a different, because even brothers call me and say, man, my queen's all mad, and she's agitated. Go home and tell her she's no longer your queen. What you mean? I said, but just, my dear, let me explain to you. All these times I've been harsh and giving you a hard time and making you feel that you know that you're not worthy, but you are. And the fact that you're not my queen, that you're beyond the earthly, you're at the celestial level. You are my goddess.
Wow.
You're beyond the surface.
Yeah, so and being female, from getting that female energy, isn't that more appreciative of you and your value?
Because you said something, the statement you just made me think that if I'm your queen, then where your castle?
Yeah,
why am I being treated? Why am I not being treated like a queen?
That's right.
If I'm your queen.
That's right.
Yeah, that's important.
And it's so important because sometimes when I do Ali, Stop the Killing, they'll have music and they'll ask the brothers to get up and sing, and what women, and then they'll ask me to come up, and then so they'll ask me, tell women what they mean for you, and I usually start with an apologetic statement, and I will say, with the music playing, I would come out, sisters, I am sorry for the pain that I caused you.
Wow.
Sisters, forgive me for the heartaches. I wanted you by my side, but I stabbed you in your side. It goes on. It's about 2 minutes, and when I get done, and I says, because as God created the sun, the stars, He created your smile. I know you're going to comment. And so at the end, it's interesting because Brother Ali says women always come up, and depending on that spectrum of conversation, will come to me and says, you know, I felt something when you said that. It did something to me emotionally. Right. So it's being able to embrace that the vulnerability, at the same time lift you high. You see. So, and understand that's the nature who is a people. Right. You see, and it's
that's powerful because and you know, in today's time, and I think it may have been D.L. Hughley that was saying that when we see all this stuff going on television and black women are being attacked, we don't. They're saying, where are the brothers to protect your women? Well, you know, we're having to fight our own battles now, and where are our protectors? And that's a problem. So that's again, we're going to come back to cultural school, right? That's because if we teach our sons from the time that they're babies that their mom and women are goddesses because they bring creation, and that you're there to be their protector, especially as a warrior. If you're coming from our ancestors, you're there to protect us.
And if I'm reverence you as a god, I have more respect for you. Much more respect. Because when I reverence you as a queen, it kind of reflects on me. I gotta be a king in order to refer to you as a queen. And if I'm not if I'm not at my best, how can I say that? It makes me feel bad because I can't allow you to be the queen that you should be because I don't have my stuff together. But I call you a goddess. That's you all by yourself.
You have to understand the way young men were objectified at one sense. Think about this now, and you have to ask the question: how did that become inculcated in DNA and get urban? I'm just in the hair shop, you know, y'all doing your hair and stuff. And what about that? Hair, Negro ain't nothing but a dog, you know, dog. So that would be people my generation, women in beauty shops calling the man a dog. So the child comes up and guess what? I'm a dog. So guess what? What's up, my dog? So understand, you know, look at this sword swings two ways.
Right, it does.
So if I call a dog now, I relate to each other as a dog, and that's the generational way that a generation is seen. I ain't your dog, so understand what that's about. You see, and again, I use that as a vernacular. I said sometimes we don't talk as a people. I walk down the street, look at you, you don't talk, but you know, dogs talk, woof woof, bow wow. So you may turn around and say, "What's your brother talking about?" I'm barking at you. What's wrong with this Negro? But so again, we need to go back to the basics. Start speaking to each other, talk to each other, and be mindful.
And that's what Krista was asking. How do we do that?
Well, sometimes people
get
ask
back
me
to those things.
Some people ask me, because sometimes I do in my office. People ask me, "Come and do you have?" Because I do spiritual classes too, and how do you tap into the spirit? I'm a minister at the same time. When I was in Haiti, and this quick little story. When I was there, I was at Jacksonville Falls, and I happened to be there. And people I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but when I was there, and my wife and there was about 4 other people in the group, and so one of the perks in the group says, "Baba, can you bless us?" And I said, "Well, call our ancestors to bless you." So I reached down and I happened to step in the waterfall, and so the one Anna speaks French, and so one of the young brothers asked, "What's she doing?" You know, because people understand the history of spirituality versus theological Christianity. So at the Jackmill Fall, when they actually had Dr. Bookman and Fatima did a prayer, and the prayer went like this: "Our God, the Creator, the Father of the stars and moons, our God who protects us, our God who gives us faith, and our God who gives us life. Unlike the white God who persecutes us, unlike the white guys who torments us, give us strength. We call our ancestors to be with us." And the whole prayer itself is powerful. Matter of fact, they read it at the Million Man Munch celebration. That French prayer caused the whole island to raise up because they were embracing their ancestral spirit to come behind them. So when I was at the waterfall, there's a lot of folks that are Christians, right? And they were looking at me, and I said, "This ain't about Jesus; it's about our spiritual, calling our ancestors." And they said I look like Moses. And brothers come around me, and I was giving. You know, there was. As a matter of fact, some folks captured it and it went on Facebook, and so they showed me indoctrinating these boys, you know, young men, and so the spirit, and so they wanted to know who Dessalines was, and you know, because he was the one that, unlike Toussaint was loved Napoleon, and he wanted to be like Napoleon. And so they saw what they did to him. Dessalines says, "Oh, no, you did this to this brother? Oh, no. He was one of the other leaders, right? Dessalines was like, what can I say? He said, "Decapité," you know, cut off their heads.
Right.
Then they didn't be with this. He was cut off their head. So it was a whole history. Anyway, that's a whole different story about it. But understanding what spirituality is and how we're spiritual people.
Right.
And you see that in our nature when we see each other. When you see people, you always say, when you run across someone, says something uncanny about that person that pulled me to them. You see, and in the conversation, and you may walk away and say, "This unique person," you know, and just something that pulls you there, because it's we're attracted body wise, but there's something rather than I'm gonna go in my pocket, you know, this is and that. You know how brothers come at you a certain way, but then if you're gonna be a genuine brother, come straight up. This is who I am. You know, and you can't change me.
Right.
If I need to change, what qualities do I need to have to enhance who I am to be more godlike in my activities? Okay.
Right.
You see, so understand that. And so once we have that, if I meet you at that level, because I tell folks, I move just beyond the social love to spiritual divine love, and that's the level. That goes beyond agape as I see my wife. You know, and people ask me, "How you doing? How are you doing?" I says, "I'm doing my earthly duties to be next to my celestial goddess. You know, so.
Celestial goddess.
We're gonna be goddess to somebody. Celestial goddess.
We're goddess.
We're goddess now.
But all that to look at the spirit of even the spirit of King, you know, and spirit of what he reflected, and they always play the "I had a dream" speech, but they never play the letters out of Selma. You never hear that. You never hear the militant side of King. Remember, he was veered and disliked when he did the speech beyond Vietnam.
Yeah,
Black organizations wanted to back away from him. Ministers wanted to back away from him. America thought he was a traitor in his speech. If you listen to that, he talked about the unjust way America has been in a country where you bomb people's. I'm a Vietnam veteran too, so how you bomb the people's food and how you destroy their source of living, and how you just went in, did unscrupulous, unjust, and constantly doing unjust acts against the country, you know, and the fact, and he'd rather go there, don't go there. And so, but 1 year after that April speech in 67, he was killed in 68. And so, but they figured because he became national in terms of what he's standing up against global injustice. And we have to understand what it was brilliant, man. You see,
he really was, because I've heard
no
a speech. In fact, one is going to play at the end of this show on when he talked about poverty, and not just poverty here, but poverty around the world.
Absolutely.
And then they played a speech on The View, which I had not heard, and it was all about the racism in America.
Oh yes, that's right.
What is that called?
Racism. There's racism in America. That's one of the, if you do the tagline, but he has several speeches out there.
Yeah, and that was just so powerful, because again, what you hear as we're growing up is "I had a dream," and that's what everybody sees him for. But he was very brilliant, because when he went to Lyndon Johnson to get what he wanted,
that's right.
He had him over a barrel, and he had no choice but to give him what he asked for.
He spoke eloquent. He also spoke about not so much sitting at a counter with white people. It's the fact that economics. He spoke about economic empowerment. So, in going back, one of our saints that spoke to that, and people have to understand that as a black community, that's nothing new. You know, if you go back to Delaney, go back to Walker, you go back to Harrison, oh God, you go back to Marcus Garvey, you go back to Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, always spoke to our financial separation. And so, again, we still don't get it. And Sister Dr. Barbara Sizemore speak to that. We still do not get it.
We do not. In fact, I just read today, there was somebody that put something on Facebook, and they were talking about the shanty towns in Africa and South Africa.
Yes.
And then they were saying, just imagine, he says, I'm going to put this on the table. If half of the African Americans that are here in America and our spending power, and we took that to Africa, there would be no more shanty towns in Africa. But when we think here, we always are operating in a place of victimness. But if we took the $1.2 to $3 trillion and we took that off the table, if we all packed up and went to our own little island, America would be doomed.
Right.
Well, the thing that I tell folks, number one, Mandela, I have mixed emotions about, number one. The fact that they never really give credit to where credit's due. The fact that Angola, it was Castro that sent the truth over, and when South Africa was defeated, one of the requirements was you free Mandela. So when he got out of jail, he didn't go nowhere else but directly to Cuba. And then they wanted to have him, because Winnie Mandela had a relationship, they wanted him to divorce his wife. So out of that, in order to play the game, he divorced Winnie. You see, it was a social game. So she was his warrior. She was continued on, you see. So understand the fact that here again, systems come in. And again, Africa is still think and act in a colonized way.
They do.
I may be an African with a white wig on my head, but I'm still African in Eurocentric way. So we need, like Dr. Clark says, we need to be African in an Africanness. Not a colonizer. A colonizer still has this in the back of our mind. So that's how Africa is still colonized. Matter of fact, the latest colonizer is a book called by the Chinese are coming in. China is the new continent for enrichment. So they're coming in, and there's a book called I think China, China's new territory, and it speaks eloquently about the different aspects and different folks going into Africa, dividing it up and have no respect for the African. Yeah. And the fact that they're giving them what they need, some of the resources, but at the same time, what's happening? They're bringing their own men over. Yeah. They're really propagating the subjugation of the men impregnating women. Oh yeah. Something else, and the fact, it's in the way, and the horrible way that they are creating their own. I call them kibbutzes like the Jewish community did. I mean,
well, that's the same thing with South Africa with the Danish, with the Danes.
Yeah, so right? It's not
right.
changed.
In fact, I remember the very first time when I went to Jamaica. In my head, when I go there, it's going to be a country that they run their own businesses. They're there, right? And when I got there and I went into the shops and they were all Indians, I'm going, well, what the hell happened here?
Yes.
I mean, because you're a country, because they were one of the ones with the Maroons that fought back. Right. But so I guess the question is even on the continent, why are we? I don't know if it's docile or
on the continent. You want to know the question? If you think Africa, in all fairness, is still colonized at one level, if I'm going to free you. If I'm going to make you president and free you and go to De Beers and say you still keep the diamonds, if I go to the oil company and say you keep the oil, what resources do the people have? What circumstances have been changed? Mm-hmm. You see, rather than one of my heroes, and later on is not one of my heroes, was Idi Amin. Y'all pack your shit and get up out here 24 hours.
Unfortunately, right. Harsh and isn't that who was that? One of them, he was getting ready to change the money.
Well, that's a shame. I see his face. No. I know you're talking about. Yeah. But they took him out, and he was going back to the. Gaddafi was going to go back to natural resources, and they took him out because the AU was really coming together. We don't have the gold to compete with Africa, and they took him out. You see, America has always taken out those that weren't in alignment with this imperialistic thoughts. There's not a country that's in place today that's not happened. And even those that are democratic, when they Hugo Chavez, when he nationalized his country and wanted to give the oil to the people, he became demonized. You see, understand how this country always demonized those that want to be Panama the same way. What they did there.
The Dominican.
What? Dominican? Well,
because if you look at Haiti and Dominica, they just one mountain range.
Well, see, understand when Haiti was free, the whole island was free, and with the fact that the church, remember, they had the Dominicans spoke Spanish, and the Haitians spoke French. Yeah. So understand there was a conflict that the folks that were freed in Santo Domingo wanted to be in alignment with their source of Spanish. They wanted, because the church was there. Y'all need to get back to the Catholic Church and all this other good stuff. And the church has governance. So España is the source. So when you speak to Dominican, they look at their Christianic way of being viewed as we're connected to Spain. Well, you're still African. And the conflict, how they see each other because you speak French, and the slaughter that took place. There's a rich history in Haiti, and seeing the Santo Domingo, because I do know that when my nephew married a Santo Domingo, and we happened to go to New Jersey at the wedding, and people were sitting around. Most of my wife's family looked like they're from New Orleans, because I'm married to the Aubrey family. But anyway, give you an idea. The whole notion of people speaking Spanish and stuff, and English and Spanish, and I was sitting down listening to them talk, and one of the ladies said something to my wife said, I don't speak Spanish, right? And they said something in Spanish about, they don't speak Spanish, right? And they walked away, and then the lady in a conversation. And so I walked past, and the lady said something, and she said something in English. I said, sí, yo hablo español, yo entiendo español también. Oh, ¿quién es? What are you? I'm human,
What are you?
So but the whole
you
point.
You answered the question.
And then they come back with, and before I said to him, and she said, ¿Tú eres puertorriqueño? I said, no. ¿Tú eres cubano? No. And I said, and then 12 was him. I said, I'm African. I said, todo es Africa. She said, oh. Then the question is, ¿Dónde aprende el español? And really aggravate me. Where you learn to speak Spanish? I said, you're in the streets and women. And they looked at me, oh, okay. So, but again, to say that they had that demeanor, and people always, where you learn to speak it? And I would say, well, wait a minute. You mean to say they don't have people look like me in your country? Oh, see. Then why would you ask me a retarded question about where I learned to speak? Come on now.
Exactly.
So, but all that go back to the spirit of Dr. King and the parade. I'm tying that into my mentor, Dr. Adrian Dove. You know, the brother, Harvard graduate, and with 4 presidents. He was going to call in, but something came up. He's working. The man to be 84.
Oh, wow. He does not look
84?
at all.
84. Ask him. There was, oh, yes. 84. If I'm 74 and he was my mentor, come on now. so in fact, it had that energy. And that's, I call him, the Kingdom Day Parade is his additional bride.
Right.
So he wants to make sure everything is right. And to have the energy and mindset that he has, getting out, like making sure. There was an event that the Korean community was putting on the day before that, Friday, that Saturday. No, that Sunday, because the parade was on Monday. And we were there at some hotel, and the palace out there in Koreatown, and we happened to get there early, and we were waiting for Dr. Dove to come. And when Dr. Dove showed up, you know, he had to change his. I was painting the curves to make sure the curbs were. I'm thinking, you know,
he was painting the curves.
Sure, he was making. Yeah, you know, he said he was. That's him.
Wow.
And he's up all night. When there was some issues about the maps, he's I pulled an all-nighter again because something happened in the parade, and him and Sabra, she's the vice president of the King Day Parade, was saying we pulled another all-nighter to change the lineup because the LAUSD pulled out, so all the bands were out, other than Compton, Hollywood. And
I didn't even think about that.
So again, if you have all the lineups, and all of a sudden they had the script for that, so they do a script to let you know who's coming, a bit of background. And Ms. Sykes was reading it, but you had to change it. She had to do the last minute change.
Wow.
So they're doing all-nighter. So there goes a lot. There's a lot in there.
And we're going to hold that for. We're going to take a quick break, but I would like to know about the parade. I know it's been. It was 37 years ago by someone else, though. It wasn't
Grant.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about the King Parade.
Okay. Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Hey, John Strawberry, and this week on Get Up and Move, we are doing burpees. Yes, I said burpees are the best full body exercise you can do. Low impact burpees, starting on feet shoulder to heart to protect the knees. Sitting down to squat, setting back to plank, then up to squat, power move the arms. Now, ready for this? Squat, out to plank, back to squat, power move. For more advanced. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you have it. Now, for the full video, go to GilbertErica.com and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you on Monday.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
And we are back on the Business Zone with Crystal, Gilbert,
And Don.
And Dr. Washington is here just enlightening us. Me and Don are walking out of here goddesses.
Yes. I need you to address me correctly from here on.
Goddess.
I knew I was a goddess. I just needed somebody else to say it first.
You know, it's amazing when you call that term, the transformation of reaction totally shifted. I was watching the body language.
I like that goddess term.
But that's something we should really be mindful of.
Yeah.
You know, and you think of what that would look like if people would, hi, my goddess, how are you doing? Or, greetings, my, because the God is within us.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that spiritual image within you. If I'm going to approach a goddess, then I need to be humble. I need to be meek. And as the goddess is being approached, humility and meekness is also rating.
Right.
So I don't need a dominating, Negro, get on your knees and genuflect in front of me type of.
Sorry.
You
can't do that, Crystal.
No, you can't do that.
Right, exactly.
Darn it.
So when we went away to break, we were talking about the Kingdom Parade, and Dr. Adrian Dove was going to be here. He was going to call in, but he's busy because he just got off of it. So we will get him in here. But for our audience, I'm just going to give you a little background. So the parade is more than just another parade. Right. It celebrates and centers around the only national and local holiday whose central purpose is to celebrate equality and justice for all people, to fight for it using the weapon of love and peace. In the current year, the mission of bringing people together is needed more than ever, which it is. And the Kingdom Day Parade and its fiscal agent, CORE, California, has a 12-month focus on bringing people together in harmony in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It was conceived more than 37 years ago by late Larry Grant and businessman Celeste King III as a small neighborhood tribute to the world, to life, work, dream, and the spirit of Dr. King. After the untimely death of Larry Grant, the original founder, 6 years later, Dr. Adrian Dove, the parade longtime financial manager and chairman of CORE, stepped forward and has managed the parade since then with the help of a strong team of volunteers and professional support. The parade is committed to nurturing Dr. King's spirit for equality of life using love and nonviolence as the primary weapon. And if you're interested in becoming a participant, volunteer, sponsor, for more information, contact kingdomdayparade.org.
That's right. And they're looking for, we're building, this year is finished, we're looking to building next year.
Yes.
So we're looking for volunteers. We need as many young folks to come out, give your time and your talent.
Yeah.
You know, so it's incumbent upon us to make this a extremely growing program. And we felt honored that the Rose Bowl, Rose Parade, contacted us and wanted us to engage and support. And it was interesting. 2 years ago, the Rose Parade, their second person in control called and wanted to be a part of King Day Parade. So this person thought would be an organizer, wanted to be at the gate and signing people through. That goes to show, oh yes, this person's sitting at that level, and that's the level of engagement. So they're looking at how we can continue to go on and have that type of support. And thank God for Blue Shield came in, and Channel 7's been there. So
it was actually awesome. And I'm not really a parade person, because just to sit there all for that time frame. And I kind of watched the rerun of the Rose Parade, but I actually watched the parade.
That's right.
And oh my God, you guys had everybody.
That's right. The cues were out there.
Everybody was there. I was like, wow, you guys, everybody, and it was just really, and you just all the people, and you just feel the energy.
Yes.
So has it grown over the years?
Every year it's growing, and next year is even going to be even larger. And again, you can see the growth from even just in the last year when Kamala Harris was here. You can see the crowd just constantly increasing. More people are getting involved, and our goal is to supersede the Rose Bowl based upon the magnitude of what we have, and expand the time and getting more folks to get involved, getting a lot of our young folks involved, and just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Now, does this parade, are there chapters all around the country that's doing a parade? Or
everybody, even Inglewood did their parade. They did it on Saturday.
Right, I remember I was over it anyway. My bank is over there.
Right, but this is the largest one in the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, that's something that Larry Grant wanted to have as a result of, and over the years, it's become to what it is now.
And so, as it was saying here, there's a 12-month focus on bringing people together. So what's the plan to make that happen, and what does those events look like?
Well, number one, first of all, it's a letter of thank you going out, and also inquire that who we're trying to invite to be part of the program this year. Some people automatically call in, and it was interesting. The story goes that even with Kamala Harris, we're looking for a person that can be the king or queen of the parade. We're looking for somebody to come in and be the parade
goddess.
No,
no, like they do for the Pasadena, where they have
the grandmaster. I'm getting the terms mixed up, but anyway, we're looking at all of a sudden Kamala Harris's office call. Oh, do you need some? Oh yes, come on in. So so again, we have these type of calls. You see, so and so we throw it out there, and so a lot of folks come in, and so we look to have Maxine Waters is there every year.
She is.
She calls in, and part of the parade. For a while, she was getting out. She'd walk, and then Maxine is my darling.
Yes.
So that's Maxine. So, but it's good to see folks coming together, going to the breakfast. The breakfast was phenomenal. Seeing all the
I think
dignitaries.
Felicia was at the breakfast. I saw her pictures of Felicia that owns the studio here.
Yes.
She was there for the breakfast. So how come I've never been invited?
I know, me neither. What's up with that?
Well,
actually, I participated a few times in the parade. I've done the kids, the fitness kids. We participated maybe like 5 years straight. This was prior to the aerobics room. I've done Zumba exercise on the stage when they get to the final location. So you haven't participated, but they
I haven't participated. So that means I need to be calling and stepping up and asking, or what do I need to do?
Well, you know me. The question is, how do we really create relationships? How do we really start promoting it? How do we use this as a platform for education? And I tell you, if you ever sit down and listen to Dr. Adrian Dev, because he was with 4 presidents, and I'll tell a quick story that when the last time I saw Dr. Dev, when I was in 1957, I was in elementary school, getting ready to go into high school. That's the last time I saw Dr. Dev, and and then. After that, it was 1995. We were sitting in Johnny Cochran's office talking about Proposition 209, and I kept looking at him, and I've always known him as Dr. Dove, never as Adrian. Never knew his first name. It's always Dr. Mr. Dove, Mr. Dove. And I looked, and I kept looking and looking and looking. I said, "There's something familiar about this brother, And he was talking, and he had his hat on, and I'm thinking this. And I said, "Adrian, yes." Did you ever mentor? Oh yes. And the doctor doesn't seem to start pontificating, and I'm saying, I says, yes. Did you ever go to a little Catholic school in Watts? He stopped. St. Lawrence. And he looked, and he looked again, and looked again. Oh no, little bitty Clarence. I'm saying, and I'm saying, dang, Doc. I'm small. I'm 6'3.5", but I said, given to your stature, I'm still a little bitty. And I says, how could you? He says, because at that time there was maybe 5 blacks in our class. I went to a little Catholic school in St. Lawrence and Watts, and he would take us to the park, exercise, take us camping.
Oh,
and those type of things.
wow!
So he was our true mentor, right? And then I didn't see him no more. In '95, I saw him 4 years ago. It was at Leimert Park, and we were talking, and we hooked up. He was looking to relocate his office. And we were upstairs, a bunch of folks that came from Berkeley were sitting upstairs talking, and Dr. Duff came up and says, "Oh, am I interrupting?" "No, sit down." And we started talking. For 2.5 hours, he was sharing about what he saw in Library of Congress and books he's read and researched. And when he finished, one of the Brother Ahmad says, "My God, I could have got my master's just based upon the conversation you shared."
Wow.
And just he is a pantheon of knowledge, historian, so he was there when Watts riot, all that. He's a phenomenal brother. So, like I say, he's dedicated and loves the community. His story is about engaging in Washington, but his passion is the parade.
Right.
And like I say, he lives all year for that. And it's preparation for getting folks involved, sending out letters out, and looking for sponsors. You see, and then once we get the bigger sponsors, because people are under the impression that the parade generates wealth. And it's always breaking even. And so we're looking to go beyond breaking even to make it a ongoing legacy that could be self-generating revenue, you see. So that's the new step last year going to this year. Let us move toward profit rather than doing it for free. So that's his whole mantra. We need to generate funds to make it more viable, and looking at the things we need to do.
And you're not always dependent on the big sponsors, because they change.
Well, they change, and before, to come in as a float $500, I mean, that doesn't generate a whole lot. Some corporate sponsors spending, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000.
Right.
Other people giving, it's sort of depending on the sponsor, the magnitude of their how they see them need to be played, and they'll spend the money.
And maybe that when you guys partnering and collaborating with the Rose Bowl, because obviously I think they do make a profit with theirs over the years.
Oh, yeah, millions.
Millions of dollars.
Yes.
A good friend of mine actually sits on their board. especially now that the black guy is there, because they were doing a whole...
Brother man, that's the whole idea. They have a new brother on the scene.
The new brother. Yeah, which is, and you saw the inflection.
Right.
In fact, I think this was the first year they actually had, and it was the Kappas, because the guy that is a good friend of mine's, that was the first time they ever was a float that represented a Greek.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
And that was the Kappa.
Right,
so, and this guy is a Kappa, and so is Leo.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys can find out what that platform is and what they do. Now, what is Core Cal, where Dr. Adrian or Dove came from?
My dear, my dear, my dear.
I don't know what that is. I've never even heard of it, actually,
California.
I never have.
You haven't? You have. You've heard
You
of
have.
it.
I have.
Yes, you've heard of Congress racial equality.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just didn't know the acronym. I didn't know the acronym for it.
Yeah,
okay, and so that's what he was. Okay.
Yeah, you're still connected to CORE. Matter of fact, Richard Dixon came down from CORE. He flew down, and part of the program is too. And Mr. Dixon is a very brilliant person as well. You know, so and there are a lot of folks that have a lot of talent coming together and make it possible for us, for the program to be a success. You know?
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's but yeah, becoming so that year long, and so I guess that's part of the goal of making it a 12 months focus.
Well,
so if you're generating,
it has been. We're having discussion. We had our meeting yesterday just to evaluate the outcome, the weak spots, and then going forward to improve on it. Go from, like they say, from better to more better.
And so, what would those plans from better to more better? And what would be those? And what will be their plans for a ongoing?
It's the same thing, you know. Just stepping it up a few notches and looking out to invite more people and going after the funders who'll come in and be a larger participant and spend the bucks. Like I know that the Rose Bowl had something. They had like a $5 million. Kitty to operate from, you know, so that's buddy, that type of kitty you have to operate from,
right.
I mean, you know, so and operate from a zero budget to let's break even to every year it's like let's break even. Sometimes doctor will go in his pockets to make that, and he said this is love. So the thing is, stop going in your pocket and
make it self-sufficient.
Make it sufficient, and the idea is looking at the model that the Rose Bowl has established. So we're following in that footstep to make sure that we mirror the steps that they took to make them what it is. Because even the Rose Bowl says you have a idea that supersedes what we do, and that came from the Rose Bowl.
Right.
You see, so when they give that type of compliment and ask to be a part of the program, it speaks eons and volumes to people that want to participate in that.
So by bringing in younger people, obviously you're setting them up so there's legacy, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, so we have to understand too that that even the Black Conscious Movement were done with young college students. Angela was 18, Stokely was 21.
Yeah, right.
So
exactly.
That was the millennial age. So I wouldn't say when she was 18, she would be considered Z generation instead of the millennial. So
yeah, right. But it's very, very important that we become very full. Last week on the show we had the family of the Nicholas brothers. Dr. Nichols, and it was awesome. And just listening to them, and the interesting thing about them is, you know, they don't really trade on the fact that these were their grandfather and uncle, which they really should, because there are a lot of young people don't know who the Nicholas brothers are.
That's right.
And I was telling the kids, I said, you know, your uncles, since they were dancing in the early 1900s, they broke color barriers to be able to do what they did.
We need to know that.
Everybody needs to know that.
Telling that story.
Right, you need to tell the story. So, and I'm going to be talking to them as a business coach that I understand you guys want to do it on your standing alone, but this is history. And that's the problem with our people. Our history, and for being villagers, remember that the folklores come down generation to generation to generation,
the griots.
Right, exactly. So we need to make sure that we're telling our story and that it's carrying on. And a lot. I remember when my grandmother died at 102.
Oh wow!
And so we were watching. This was back when they did Roots, but Queenie, remember Queenie, right?
Right.
So my grandmother was 85, 86 or something like that. So she's sitting there watching, we're watching, and everybody, everybody was around Roots, everybody was sitting there watching Queen. And so my grandmother was sitting there and she's watching, and she goes, that place looks familiar. And we're like, yeah, right, Grandma. And she's watching. And she goes, I played there as a child. And I went, oh, yeah, sure, Grandma. But it turned out that's exactly what happened.
Right.
It was the plantation on the next plantation where she was a child.
Wow.
And
that's
so
amazing.
she actually had played. And as they kept going through the storyline, and she didn't really, 85, she kind of knew what she was watching, but because there was a bit of senility, she was going back to when she actually was, because it was the replica of the plantation, and so she actually had played. And so with that, what my mother did was so we started listening, and then my mom went back and did the whole history, so we know all our history on that. And they came from a small town in Alabama, Florence, Alabama, and so it actually goes back to the plantation owner. His name was Coffee, and so the Coffees in Mobile, Alabama, and Florence, Alabama, they were surveyors. He was a surveyor, and he also, his wife was the cousin of Andrew Jackson.
Wow.
And so that history, so when we went to go Google and research, it was all there because of what they were and what they own and the Tennessee border and everything. So, but then we had to listen to her because, so in actuality, probably some of the slaves, because they were moved back and forth between these two plantations, meaning that we're also probably related to to Alex Haley in somewhere in that area, because they moved us all over the place.
That comes as a shock treatment at one level, because I know one of my cousins, I wouldn't say a passé le blanc type mentality, and has this big mural in his kitchen, in the living room, says, "Oh, this is the plantations we own," right? And that's indoctrination to his daughter, who's a dentist, and her son is a fireman, that they were plantation owners, right? So my sister did some research, and she went down and did she did her research, and come to find out, that we were on a plantation, right?
Yeah.
And so I was with cousin, and we were on a plantation. My brother, no, we weren't. We were property of the Gourdins. Who? I said we were
the property.
We were property of, But that was his form of indoctrination, because he didn't know. Once he said, this is research, and so he'd just say, well, the son had children, so their mindset is, because blacks did have plantations.
Yeah, they did. They did.
They were given plantations.
They were
in Virginia.
given, especially in certain. Some of them were given.
Virginia, they were given. That's the whole history about having plantation. Matter of fact, the Johnson Act. There was a brother that had the plantation.
Yeah, I had heard.
Brother had a plantation. When brother broke away, they got the civil servant. The indentured servant was given 6 months, and the brother said, "You will be a slave for your life."
Right.
So understand that. So again, we had a slave who was a brother who was running away from a brother.
Right, exactly. That's exactly. It was all kinds of weird craziness. That's right. And in New Orleans, it was really, it was all kinds of strange there.
Yeah, buddy.
But so when we did when I did my Ancestry.com, and then once I did my DNA, it pulls in everybody that comes from the same DNA.
Right.
So I connected the white with the black.
Because
those white folks need to know this is, and I know exactly. We know exactly who it was, and so when I put the history in, I put the history in.
Wow!
Right. So when you go to my Ancestry, it tells the whole story.
That's amazing.
And exactly who impregnated my great great grand, because there's only 3 generations back.
Wow! So you know exactly who.
I know exactly who it was, and my uncles. I still have a relative. My uncle is still alive, and so we were able to trace it. My mother traced it back to a certain level, and then I've traced it all the way back. So the only thing I'm right now is trying to connect. My grandfather was a different story, because he came out of Mississippi and Texas. So I've actually because of the DNA and because of the ancestry, I've pulled it all the way back. I just cannot find my great-great-grandmother's husband. And so I'm still searching.
Oh, but no, you're going to find it. You're gonna find everything.
So that's kind of interesting. But, we were working the plantations.
Right.
But I think in New Orleans they have a different feel there, because it's the Creole thing. So tell me, we got a few more minutes. Okay. So you're taking over Dr. Shepard's, or you guys are?
No, we're getting ready for. I'm part Dr. Tony Humphrey is actually working with our author study club.
Okay.
And the next Saturday, from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, there's a tour that leads from Consolidated Realty, 3051 Don Felipe, at 8 o'clock. Get food, and they'll give you some history about Consolidated Realty. Then from there, they'll take you on maybe, I think it's 90 different stops.
90?
Yes. Where, starting from there, giving key historical spots.
Right.
Where historical spots that black folks don't know.
Yeah.
And if you have not gone, I suggest there be an opportunity to take the bus. Matter of fact, I was talking to Dr. Tatum out of Cal State Long Beach and get some of his students to come, and then have them be volunteers so they can, again, and I tell folks, if we understand that tourism is a $50 million industry, and the question I'd ask, how much of it black folks getting? So the question is, how do you have something that's so historical that we do tours once a year and it's for free?
We should do tours.
No, we're working on things to make things happen. Entrepreneurialism in terms of tourism. How do you get tours? Because people understand. Even there was King came out here and stayed up in View Park, Baldwin Hills, before back in the, for the civil rights movement, and so understand what that looks like. So there's a lot of things we can do to show the significance of black historical folks in LA.
Right.
And so it's something that, and when you go on these tours, we give narratives, the script. I'm a docent on one of the buses, so we kind of say this is that and this and that. And sometime when Dr. Tony and I were on a bus, sometime we have a little discussion. And the last, not last year, the year before, we were on the same bus, and we got to talking, and then we got into not just historical spots, but we got engaged into a discussion.
Right.
And Christina was saying, oh, by the way, this is the house of so-and-so living. We kept on. We don't know what you said. So it was like, it was a good experience. And the fact is, if you've been on it, right?
No.
So Dr. Geneva Shepard, who was a principal over at Tom Bradley,
right?
She was the originator of this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she created the Black Tour, and it's always the first Saturday in February,
and it's still going now.
So Dr. Shepard died recently, recently.
That's right.
And so they're carrying it on. So it takes you to all of the black historical spots and homes. Blueberry Hill.
I just haven't done it. You've done it?
No, I've never done it. I've done
Krista
it.
and I should do it together.
Do it once you show up. I know. Look at your schedule. But next Saturday, be there at 8 o'clock. You could try to broadcast from it.
That's the Saturday you speak.
I speak somewhere at 10, 11, I think.
11.
But we're definitely coming. But what were you saying about next week? Say that again.
That's it. Next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
So
at 8
I'm
o'clock.
speaking. Well, actually, though, let me check my schedule, because I've always wanted to do it, but always something came up. But that's something that should be ongoing.
So we can talk about the
But
business
it's not.
model. We can talk about the business model, because thanks to the different councilmen, they're providing the tour buses, 2 each. So we have up to 4, maybe 5 of these tour buses. And they carry to each, so that each bus has a docent. And
why that's important is because most people think of, if they, in this conversation, B Smith is one of the ones, I can't think if that's her last name, but that Leimert Park is the only place that we could technically say is Blacktown, or I guess that's what they want to call it. Yeah. But there were a lot of places, and Golden State Mutual Insurance, downtown LA, actually, Angel's Flight.
The Puebladores that were established by 26 families, were mestizos and black and African, so that we passed through there. They would stop, but the only problem being, black folks, you stop and get off the bus and say, well, come back here. I need to shop, so so
you lose your people.
I can see that happening.
So we don't do that. So we'll pass through that. We'll stop off at Paul Williams' design right there with Golden State. That design is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So again, looking at the mindset of how do we create a tour if he wants a Black experience, then go to the hotels and start advertising, and then you get some folks that have companies that I know a couple of folks that we're talking to make that possible.
You guys talking to what's it, the Solomons that do the Black Travel magazine? Have you got them?
I know the Solomon. The question is we need to get it locked into what's going on, then send the information out. And so once you get it going, then people will come in and you'll be on it, and then
on a regular tour.
So think about this. Look at the opportunities. You actually have a system where you pay docents to tell the history. You pay bus drivers, to drive the buses. How much revenue can that generate if people on demand to see Black LA, get the Black experience, So again, it speaks to, and then there's so many areas like they don't go past the inkwell.
Yeah, and
you know what the inkwell? The inkwell. Okay, most so again, they go. There's a couple other spots that have the same significance, but when we do Nappywood, because I'm on their board for doing Nappy and doing libation for them. We actually have a ceremony at the beach. We go by at the inkwell, and we do a libation and calling, and so it's interesting. That's what they had the last event was at the.
Oh wow!
So there's a lot of things happening, but going back to the business model, it's about entrepreneurialism. How do you make that an entrepreneurial way of?
Well, let's talk, because there's some things that I've connected with some individuals that we need to talk about that, because one of the reasons I think that would be very important is because in California, in Los Angeles now with the gentrification, a lot of times our people don't feel like there's any connection to them, right?
Well, let me do this. Let me qualify the term, and sometimes it's a misused term. You cannot gentrify Baldwin Hills. You cannot gentrify View Park. Now, with a resurrection or the rebuilding of transitioning in terms of people coming in, then there's an economic growth. The folks that are European that cannot afford to buy the $1 million homes.
Right, exactly. So they've been pushed back.
They're coming back here. Yeah. And the problem is, we look at our problem too, because if you have your home for $3,000 and it's worth $600,000, $700,000, and you sell it and move out to so again, let's talk about why we're going.
Right,
so
exactly. Right, exactly.
And a lot of our elderly are losing their homes too. So let me give you these statistics. This is a reliable statistic. If just in the 90008, that 38 homes is transitioning and going to foreclosure. 38.
Yeah.
If I add 9043 and 9019, there's 87. So there's 112, 120 homes that's going to the foreclosure or in the foreclosure statement. And those are Black folks. You see, so again, but we have enough money to go in and get that collaborative purchase, but we don't think in collaborative sake. Because if I ask you to chip in and you chip in and we buy this house together, then the trust, but do I really trust you with this kind of money? So we need to go back to trusting each other, because go back to the basics. That's the only way we're going to get ahead, is to have economic power. Because even the concept of Black power, it didn't speak to Black power, spoke to economics.
It's always comes
economics,
back to economics.
Politics, and when people say Black power, so what is the power, and why are we still powerless to some extent? And so
because we don't have the economic power.
We're losing our political clout.
Everything.
So we need to wake up.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk. And I know back east, there's a movement. I don't know if you've seen it they're on Instagram. They're called We Buy Black or Buy the Block. I think it's called Buy the Block. So they're literally got a coalition of young people. These are Gen X's and millennials, and they're going and buying blocks of row houses in Baltimore and Detroit.
Because you can buy a house for like $4,000 in Detroit.
And the same thing in Baltimore. So they're buying up row houses and rebuilding them. And I think there's a couple rappers and a football player that's been buying up blocks and rebuilding them so they can put people back in those homes. Because when you think about homelessness and you have all these empty spaces, you wouldn't have a homelessness situation. And I was in Baltimore. I ain't never seen anything like the row houses. And they're like empty blocks and blocks and blocks.
Economic level. Well, also on the Sunday, the 17th. They're doing Black History. They're shutting down Leimert Park. They're doing a Black History celebration.
Oh, okay.
If you flip the back, you'll see.
Oh, I can be available. So this is Black History Month Festival, guys.
And it's the same time Pan-African Film Festival is going on. We support that.
Ah, yes. I love the Pan-African. So this is 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Friday, February 17th at Leimert Park Village. Fashion show, food vendors, free event with guest speakers, African fashion show, art exhibit, food, and live music is at 43rd Place in Degman Boulevard in L.A. And then on the back, who's all here?
Lady Dread.
Lady Dread, okay. And the BHMF 2019. So, April Simmons. Right. I know that person. I don't know anybody else on here. Do. Oh, I know her, Amber Marie.
Okay, Dr. Marie. And who else you know?
I know. That's all I know. I do know Reggae Boy because I love reggae music. Yeah. And I've seen this King OG. I've seen him around.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And who else on there? Brother sitting right next to you.
I'm looking for you too.
Oh, there you go, Bubba. You see him? But, I didn't recognize the name Baba.
Well, that's they call elders Baba.
Baba, right? Exactly. Right. I watch. In fact, I just watched a very interesting, a fantastic movie on Netflix. It's called Lion Play, and it was about an African chief who he had a business, and his daughter was taking over, and so there was a lot of conversation. So that. Coming next week, actually, February is the beginning of Black History Month, our little short month.
Oh, can you say Black History? Don't use month. I mean, put the Black
History.
Yeah, it should be a contemplative and reflective time for the next 11 months. What you're going to do, get emboldened and ingrained into who are the people. That's an evaluation period. How was I Afrocentric the past 11 months to evaluate it in February to say, what do I need to do for the next 11 months?
Okay, I got that.
I like that.
Okay, I got that. And actually, this show I do throughout the year. I start. I've been doing it for the last couple of weeks, and it's all about us and celebrating us. Right. And but I go back and bring in history. And so next week I'll be doing the first of all the way back to the 1700s. Okay. And then I'll talk about those in business and how successful the millionaires that were in. In fact, this was I think I mentioned it last week, the week before last. The guy that owns the hair product Shea Moisture. He just bought Madam C.J. Walker's home. And her home, and he's converting it to an entrepreneurial center for women.
Well, I have another Dr. Morrow, the brother that the doctor, his daughter is also a doctor. Has they're chemists, and so they actually have some of the products out there dealing with CBD oil.
Oh, okay.
And they actually created. Dr. Cheryl called me yesterday. Has a new product we're putting out there. It's called Weekenda.
Oh, Weekenda.
Holistic hair products. So we'll be launching that. So, and then again, and then I do CBD oil. I also have my nonprofit also as well. It's the Hemp for Healing Clinic and dealing CBD oil. So it's doing things that are holistic. So a lot of things are happening, and so folks need to think about the next year. Think healthy, be healthy, and this beautiful young goddess. I mean, my God, look like she's 25.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, and she acts when she's working out. She is like she is 25 or younger. I have a good friend, and in fact, I have stock in this company. He does CBD water. Okay. They're actually, I think, a couple weeks ago, Pepsi. They provided 278,000 cases so that they could try it around at the store at different locations. So that one's coming up, and it's they have it's the water, and then they have the ones with electrolytes and so forth. But I mean, that actually, there's two industries right now that if we positioned our young people is the cannabis industry that is wealth changing.
I would use the word indoor cannabinoids. Indoor cannabinoids because it deals with your indoor immune system. THC is a byproduct of that. So understand when you say that, understanding what that entails. So I know weed had its bad reputation. Right. Because I was a flower child. and back when I was in Vietnam, I didn't miss any. I missed some of the eat-ins, but I never missed any of the eat-ins and love-ins. Okay?
So you really embraced your 70s.
Hey, back in the day in the Nam, they used to call me Dragon Thrower. Last, but anyway, it's having that sense of humor. But I understand the value of what that's about.
Yeah,
and take out the negative.
I think it's a game changer. Can be a game changer. I think also the beauty industry. If we got our people positioned to actually get into the supply part of that
production
and manufacturing, and that's not a hard twist to buy black products because you're already you're the only one shopping in the beauty supply store, so that wouldn't be a hard thing for us. So that one, and we're recently I partnered up with someone, and we're doing teaching individuals how to use digital marketing to create multiple streams of income using blogs. So we're creating a movement.
I need to come let this old dog be a part of the process.
Because that would be a way, because literally there are people creating millions of dollars through ad and affiliate marketing, and they're making. We look at we analyze blog sites all the time, and so there's one that we use all the time. They make $150,000 a month. Oh wow! And they've been doing this since 2011. My goodness! And it's been steadily growing. So right now they're at and they went last year from $95,000 a month to $150,000 today, and they have about $28,000 in expenses, and the rest of that is profit.
Well, let me cap it on this way. The old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? Who better appreciate a new trick than an old dog?
So basically saying, where's the class and how do I get it? So for those of you, we are meeting every Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Los Angeles Urban League. And it's a free, it's an informational, and right now our movement has been growing. We got 67 people in the movement, and and as of last week, 16 have already started their blogs. And we had about 7 or 8 new people there, and that's what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. There was a testimony that a young lady came. She was just like blown away because the amount of money. So for conceptual appreciation, you've Huffington Post. The Huffington Post, that is a blog, right? And that blog, they're contributing writers. So this would be great for what you guys are doing. Contributing writers that write for them. So that's why they post so much. And they make $14 million a month. Y'all got everybody over there is creative. That's right. And all of you are brilliant. I done been to Askia's house. He got books that, my God, that man just spits out books. But with all of that collective talent, you could write a blog and you could create a network. And everybody's writing. And then as you're growing your traffic, and that traffic is what creates the ad money.
I'll call it Baba's Corner.
Baba's Corner. I like that. So you need to come Wednesday evening.
That's right. I'll put that on the calendar.
And if you want to talk about making money that for the King Parade and keeping the Black Tour ongoing, you have all your travel lifestyle are one of the biggest money makers out there. So you can do that.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So wow, we had a great show. Learned a lot. I love talking to people who are really, because you don't get to talk to. I go to the PNC, the Power Network Conference with Dr. George Frazier every year. Right. And so when I went the first year, I was like, oh my God, I have walked in a place and everybody's talking black. Nobody's apologizing for being black. Unapologetically black. They're talking about Egypt and they're talking about tours and I just felt like that was my Wakanda. And that was before I saw the Black Panther. But then after when we went there, it's just an amazing feeling when you feel that power or how powerful we as black people can be if we would come together, unite, and collaborate.
Good. Okay.
And that's how I feel.
Blessing. I would say Ma'at Hotep Hotel. My Wakandan hotel.
Yeah, Wakandan.
That's right.
So we're going to get you so you can create multiple streams of income for the Kingdom Parade and for everything that you guys are doing in the Leimert Park and just for our people in general. If we can figure out how we could create a cultural school for our kids, that would be awesome.
It's possible, and you create it. It's not nothing complex.
Right.
It's whether or not black folks are conscious enough to get up, because when I did our classes for VR, training for our youth, my office is open. So how do I make that a cultural center to come in and teach about what it is to be black?
Yeah, we need to be taught what it is to be black.
Go back to the basics.
Yeah, because they do that at Chinese school every
right.
I mean, we got kids that don't come to tennis because their parents like, oh no, she's going to Japanese school. She'll be there till the summer,
right?
Because she's learning who she is. Jewish people teach their children who they are, who their culture is, and why their culture, and we won't be victimized because you'll feel strong in who you are.
Well, I guess because sometimes there was an embarrassment to say I'm African American. I'm now multicultural. You still African.
Yeah.
I just call it a demyelinated brother or sister. That's what the Europeans are.
Yeah.
They're mutated blacks.
Yeah, that's right. You just didn't dilute it.
That's a biological and genealogical fact.
Right.
Yeah.
But based by their own definition, one drop makes you black. You just got off at a different plantation. That's all.
They want to change that now, though.
What?
When now if the mother to the baby being born is white, then the child is.
That's because the whites are trying to.
I know. I'm saying that.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what they want to do. They're trying to
understand. That's always been historically, because again, even the concept of Moses didn't know who his mother was, but everybody was given their mother's name. So that's why you have Moses rather than Utmosis, Tutmosis, and again, that's in Africa. Even people may not like it, but even Menelik, the idea of Haile Selassie, saying he was the direct lineage, but no, he wasn't.
Right.
He was not the direct lineage. His wife
was the direct lineage.
So it goes. So again, they say direct descent of Menelik II was not Haile Selassie. He married into the family. But tell him to back off and say, hey.
Okay.
so we're down to our last little few minutes. So can they tell them? Can you tell our audience how to reach you and what?
Come down to Leimert Park. I'm right next to Eziokwu bookstore, 4329 Degnan. If you want to call me on my cell, it's 310-948-5524. You can text me, but since on weekends my cell phone goes on the drain, and I don't pick it up till Monday. So unless you have my home line,
so call him Monday through Friday, or just pop over into Leimert. He's Mr. Leimert over there.
See me, and we can talk about what needs to be done. Other programs we're trying to instill in Leimert Park, and also if you would like to be part of if you're a business owner, and we're trying to grow the Leimert Park Village Business Merchant Association. It's being rebuilt again. Come as an entrepreneur, give us a voice again. And that would give us a little more credibility in making demands.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Ms. Dawn?
Right here every Friday with the Business Zone. Also on social media as Dawn, D-A-W-N Strozier, S-T-R-O-Z-I-E-R.
And you are here with the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert and
Dawn.
And Dawn, we're here every Friday afternoon from 3 to 5. You can find us at morrismedialive.com. You can find me, Recycling Black Dollars. I'm the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, as well as I'm a business coach, and you can reach me at 323-906-7004. I have a workshop coming up, guys, money, and we talked about economics for the last 2 hours, but you need to know how to track your money so you can grow your money and make better decisions with your money. So if you're interested in that class, give me a call. You can also email me at cmitchell544@gmail.com, and we will see you guys next week. So you can play out the King video.
I had a dream. I dreamt all Negroes came back and knew they were black. And
right, exactly. Like, wow, I'm black.